Hey everybody, I am Loki and welcome to my first proper attempt at making a food video. A food video? Making a recipe video. I've tried a few times to do something like this and it's never quite worked out, but no matter how bad it turns out, I'm just gonna post this anyway. This is something that some friends of mine have been looking forward to seeing, and yeah, let's make a Doomwing burger. Okay, so we're going to start off by making Shadow's Chaos Cola. You will need in a saucepan 1 cup of water, 1 cup of golden castor sugar, and 1 cup of white castor sugar. Next, you're going to need the zest of 2 limes, 1 orange, and 1 lemon. For some reason, these lemons and limes really didn't want to be zested, they kept jumping out of my hands. As you can see, I haven't grated lemons or limes or anything really with a proper zester, so it took me a little while to find my confidence with it. I really don't know why I decided to measure this out with capfuls. Just use 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of squash. I used this passion fruit and mango flavour. It works really well with the flavours that are in this recipe. And then you want 2 tablespoons of pomegranate juice. Now, I only ended up using 1 cinnamon stick and a small handful of the cardamom pods. I would definitely recommend using a little bit more cardamom and using 2 cinnamon sticks instead, because I didn't quite get the flavour that I was after. Put the pan onto a high heat and mix it up until the sugar has dissolved, and then just wait for it to come to a boil, and then reduce the heat to a medium-low heat and wait for it to simmer for 10 minutes. While that's simmering away, roll over the fruit that you have. It helps make it easier to squeeze once you cut them open. I kind of accidentally squashed the orange because I was a little bit too aggressive with it. My bad. Yep. Now, I had actually bought some coffee filters to help me filter out the bits that I wanted to filter out of this, but then they ended up not turning up, so I, like an idiot, tried to scoop all of the bits out, and then I realised I could just use some tea bags that I had. I opened the tea bags up, removed the tea, and just used the bag lining to help strain it later on. But, you know, I still needed to remove the spices that I had put in, so I guess it wasn't a terrible idea. And then you want half of the juice of the lemon, the juice of the full lime, and the juice of half the orange. I was really struggling to figure out how to squeeze these in a way that, you know, it would actually show up well on camera. You can tell that I'm not used to doing this. I am very slowly but surely learning. And then you just want to add a little bit of citric acid. Only about a teaspoon is necessary. I think I used a little bit too much in this recipe, but I quite like sour drinks, so I'm alright with that. I also forgot to mention that you shouldn't add the juice until you have taken the pan off the heat. And then you just want to add some food colouring. I decided, since this drink was for Shadow, that it would have to be red, because I tried to make a black one before and it did not look very good. I wanted this much more red than it ended up turning out to be. It looked a bit more orange, and it was going to dilute even further when I added the soda water. So what I did was I added a teeny bit of water into what I had left of that colour paste and just poured the rest of it in. And thankfully it ended up the exact colour that I wanted it. Now, this didn't really turn out the way that I wanted it to, and I think that you'll see why later. Just don't do what I do and forget that it's like steeping and sifting through that filter like I did. But yeah, I filtered the syrup into an old maple syrup bottle because it was just the easier thing for me to do, ironically. It looks like there's blood everywhere. Oh my god. Next, you will want 5 to 10 tablespoons of the syrup in a glass and just add some sparkling water to it, and there you have it. I added some edible glitter because I could and I wanted to, and I think it looks really cool. Now, this recipe I will not actually be sharing because I couldn't seem to get it right. It didn't come out the way that I wanted it to. I will be posting the original recipe that I was trying to cut in half. I really think that I just kept on making mistakes, like I completely forgot the egg for one thing. It didn't come out quite right, and I think I added a little bit too much of the charcoal, the activated charcoal. So yeah, the buns did not come out great. My second attempt that you'll see later on was a good bit better. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna post the original recipe and hope that you guys do a good bit better than I did. I'm just posting myself making this, so hopefully someone can point out to me where exactly it is that I went wrong, aside from, you know, forgetting the egg. I feel like I made it too wet at first, and then I tried to dry it out too much when I tried to knead in some extra flour later on. And yeah, this entire part of the recipe was not great. My cat is breaking things while I'm trying to do this voiceover. Thank you, Lucy. But yeah, if anyone can give me any pointers, I would really appreciate it. For some reason, making bread is one of those things that I've always really struggled with. I can bake a lot of other things. I can make a souffle, no problem. But asking me to make bread, I only recently figured out how to make like a basic, somewhat edible bread recipe in the last couple of years. So yeah, this is definitely an area of cooking that I do desperately need help with, so please help. I then tried to make the bit that I had dyed red into some little stripe shapes, but they ended up just looking way more like blobs, and I also completely forgot to film myself putting on the egg wash that I made. So yeah, this whole recipe was a little bit upside down. And in the oven it goes. Please ignore the flour everywhere. I am clumsy. They came out slightly misshapen. They're not perfect, but I mean, at least they're burger buns, recognisably. I just had to reattempt the burger buns because the ones that I made went way too stale to use because I've been too sick to cook all week. So, these ones look considerably less cursed. And next, we're just cutting up the onion really finely for both the burger filling and the salsa that we're making. We are making a mango salsa to put on top of our burger. To prepare the mango, you just want to cut off the cheeks, score it, and then it should be easy to either peel off with your thumb or you can use a spoon. Add the mango to half of the onion that you cut. And then the next we're going to cut up the jalapenos. I just grabbed a handful of them. Just put in however many that you want and just chop them up as finely as you can. Next you will want the juice of half a lime. And then all you want to do after that is mix it up, put some cling film on it, and put it in the fridge until you're ready to eat. I don't know why, but for some reason the onion was a little bit stubborn about breaking up, even though I'd already cut it quite finely, so it took a minute to mix it up. You want to put a pan onto a medium heat with some butter and just cook away the other half of the onions that you cut up. You want them either at least translucent or caramelized, whichever you prefer. Next, you want to add a small amount of garlic and about 2 tablespoons of chipotle powder. Once that's well incorporated, take it off the heat and leave to cool while you make the rest of the filling. Now you just want to take the sausages out of their casing. You want to make sure that they have a high fat percentage, otherwise you're going to end up with really tough burgers, and some beef mince. 1 to 2 tablespoons of garlic salt. I quite like garlic salt, so I'm using a fair bit of it, and a good chunk more of chipotle powder. I don't know why I said chunk, but you guys get the idea. Add in your onions, and then you just want to mix it until it's really well incorporated and all mixed through. Of course, I completely forgot the 2 tablespoons of crumbs and the egg that I was supposed to use. Thankfully, I realized before I finished mixing it. What you want to do next is you want to have about 3 tablespoons of butter in a medium heat pan, and you want to add about 2 tablespoons of corn flour. I think you guys tend to call it cornstarch. And just heat that through to try and make a roux. I needed to add a little bit more butter than I originally had. And then to the roux, before you add the milk, you want to add a good little chunk of blue cheese in there. I just crumbled up this entire piece. I will put up on the screen how much it was because I can't quite remember right now. Stir that up well until it starts to melt. And then you want to add a splash of milk at a time. I ended up using half a pint of milk altogether. And then you want several handfuls of mozzarella cheese. And last but not least, a good little chunk of brie. I once again forgot how much it was that I used. I will be checking everything and putting the more precise measurements up on the screen. And then I added about a tablespoon of the activated charcoal. It didn't make it quite as dark as I wanted it though, so I did end up having to go back in with some of the licorice black food colour that I had in my drawer. I have a drawer that's just full of edible glitter and food dye. I apologise for the terrible ASMR that was given during me trying to use the pan in this video. And just transfer that into a jug. Next we are making the beer batter tempura to be able to put onto the onion rings. We're just mixing some regular plain flour and some corn flour, and I added some garlic salt and some cayenne pepper. I nearly forgot which pepper it was that I used. And once I've got all of that mixed together with a pinch of salt that I forgot to add this time around, you're going to mix it up with a little bit of some ice cold beer. While your oil is heating up on a medium-high heat, you want to coat the onion rings in some of the cornstarch and dip them into the batter. My American friends have gotten me saying cornstarch now, great. And then once the oil is hot enough, you just want to plop them in. Just do them a couple of at a time. You don't want to overload the oil and end up with the temperature dropping too much. Otherwise, it will not cook all the way through and it will just end up stodgy. And the next thing that I did, I made a little bit of a mistake by making way too much of this mayonnaise, but basically I just mixed up some light mayo with some black garlic. It looks horrendous, but it tastes amazing. My mistake was I made a fair bit of it and then I just mixed in the lettuce rather than putting it on top of the lettuce. I think I had way too much mayo in there, but you know,
A little bit too much of the mayo, not quite enough lettuce, but oh well.
I learned from my mistakes. And here, I'm just really desperately trying to cut this in half without injuring myself. I am not the best with knives. And now I'm just trying to construct this burger as best to my ability. And before we can finish constructing these, though, we need to cook the patties. So I'm just rolling out each patty, and I cooked them for about 4 or 5 minutes on each side, just to make sure that I cooked them through, since these are also part pork. For the sauce, I'm making a gochujang sauce. I'm just mixing up some honey and some soy sauce and some gochujang. I would also recommend some gochujaro if you've got it, but that was, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of that, by the way. I couldn't get a hold of any, so I just made do with what I had. I would have done this a bit differently if I do this again, but I just microwaved it for a little while to thicken it up a little bit, and then that's what I tossed the wings into. And now it's finally time to assemble these monstrosities. So I just put the patty on top of the lettuce, followed by the doom wings, followed by the onion golden inhibitor rings, and then on top of that I put the, oh yeah, I completely forgot about the cheese sauce. How did I forget the cheese sauce? I has the dumb today, if you couldn't tell. But anyway, I think that you guys can just watch the rest of this video in peace. I will see you later. Okay, so I lied. I decided to come back and explain that I'm doing this with my hands because, from my own experience, trying to do this with a spoon would not have worked at all. So I did it this way because it was easier for me. And of course I had to put a skewer through the top because otherwise they would have fallen apart. These things were huge. We're eating in the bedroom because I am too tired to keep standing. I am in so much pain after making this, but I hope it was worth it. You're gonna want to leave the stick in, hun. It's
I'm not going to get my mouth around that.
You know the joke I'm thinking of.
Yes, I do.
I'm leaving that in. I was gonna say, do you want to get another plate? Because it's gonna be messy.
Yeah.
Next time I'll have to remember to keep the onion rings warm in the oven with the chicken, because they've gone a bit cold. At least they've not gone soggy. This bit not really worked out super well. It's gone a bit hard. Oh, I forgot the sesame seeds this time. Oh well.
I'm getting sauce everywhere already.
The Black Doom sauce.
How am I supposed to bite into this?
Honey, you've eaten burgers like this before. I've seen you. Just squish it as much as you can and get whatever you can in your bites.
You said to squish it.
Yeah. What have I
I need
done?
to fucking unhinge my jaw for this.
Snake jaw it.
I got no onion and all butter. But that's good.
all the batter and none of the onion. I will have to give my own verdict after I've had a chance to actually eat it.
Considering that this is the end result of eating this, I think it's safe to say that this was a success.
It's all over your face as well.
It is everywhere. I enjoyed it. I was worried that the mango wouldn't go very well with the other flavors, but it actually works really well. I just wish that I made it more spicy. So for anybody else who's like me, who likes it hotter, just add another couple of tablespoons of cayenne pepper to the onion rings and a extra spoonful of the chipotle to the burger meat. But yeah, I would. That's definitely good. I'm gonna have to make this again. You can get the light out of my face now.
Hey everybody, it's Editing Loki. It has taken me months to actually finish editing this. I am exhausted. It's taken forever. Like the colour has come all out of my hair. That the red that I had in there, it's all pretty much gone, except for like some of it's still a little bit like peachy pink, where it's been fading. I've felt very self-conscious about the way that I look on camera a lot of the time. I mean, in the last couple of months I've actually like lost weight as well, so I think that might be why. Like seeing myself in those angles, getting used to seeing myself on camera again, and getting used to how I look versus how I want to look, because a big part of my problem is not the weight, it's the fact that, you know, I'm a trans guy and I'm still struggling with this part of my body not being dealt with sooner, because of like there's so many issues going on with that, but like between the dysphoria and the just feeling like the video wasn't very good, especially in comparison to the likes of Me So Hungry and Barry Lewis. Those are like two of my favourite cooking YouTubers, and I feel like compared to even their old videos, I don't feel like I did very well. But I did promise myself and my friends that I would post it no matter how I felt about it. And, you know, editing and filming it has... Sorry, my shoulders keep wanting to pop out of their sockets if I'm holding the camera up for too long. It's taught me a lot, and I feel like there's several things that I'm going to be able to improve on for sure in the next video that I make. I am torn between making a video in honour of SCP-049, the Plague Doctor, or if I'm going to do another Sonic recipe next. I do have a Sonic recipe video planned, one that's going to be a bit easier than the one I just did here today. And there are some changes I know I need to make when it comes to editing and when it comes to voiceover. I've noticed several mistakes in the voiceovers that I did a month ago versus how I would do it now. So I think it was worth the learning that I got to do through it. And yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed about the fact that, you know, my transition isn't where I want it to be, and because of that, I'm not as comfortable as I used to be in front of a camera. But yeah, you know, I think that it was definitely worth doing, and I am definitely going to make more videos in the future. It's just a question of when, because my chronic fatigue kicks my ass constantly, and trying to get the energy to clean up the kitchen enough to be able to film, let alone actually get through filming and then editing everything, that is where I'm struggling. But I am trying to find ways around it. I'm trying to find more ways to be able to do what I want to do with my life without completely destroying my physical health to do it. So wish me luck on figuring that out. But yeah, I think my friends are gonna be proud of me for finally getting this made, and I know that a lot of them are really looking forward to actually having the recipes. Now I just need to go through and write down what, like, the amounts of each ingredient that I was using actually was, because I could not for the life of me think about it. I am not speaking very well today. I couldn't think about what the exact measurements were when I was just trying to focus on getting the voiceover done. So I think, yeah, I'm gonna go do that now, finish editing this, and get it uploaded before Vindo starts streaming tonight. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that I get this uploaded.